Are you going offshore and you're saying, but I don't want to get seasick? Because, Professor, that is not fun.
Not fun at all.
Not fun, and we don't want you to get seasick either. And so in this video, we're going to give you all the tips, tricks, hacks, everything we have seen that work and, well, don't necessarily work. And by the end, hopefully, you're going to know what you need to do to come offshore, maybe with us, and have the day of a lifetime. Recommendation number one, Professor, and that is those medications that we've all heard of. You got Dramamine, you got Bonine, you got others. You have a preference here? Because I've got a preference. What say you?
I don't really. I'm fortunate, man. I just don't.
You don't ever get seasick.
I don't ever get it.
What I have found, and just for those that are viewing this right now, unfortunately, I do battle with this. I don't get seasick on the Potomac River, on the Chesapeake Bay. But when it comes to ocean fishing, a lot of people don't understand this. Maybe we could talk about this before we even talk about the medication stuff. Because you've seen people, Professor, that literally worked on the Chesapeake Bay as watermen, come offshore with you,
yeah,
and get seasick.
Yeah.
Why is there such a big difference?
It's just a different motion. I mean, it's a big, slow roll that you hardly even notice sometimes. And it's greater. It's a lot more height, you know what I mean? And it's not a small chop, and right. It just throws you all out of whack.
Because the pop, 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 pop that you might find on the bay, on the river, that really doesn't mess most people up.
No.
But you get in the crazy rolls and what have you, then you have the issues, all right? So I would say, before you even get going, don't assume that you won't get seasick.
Right.
If you haven't been offshore, you're better off just assuming that you will.
Right.
In doing the preventative stuff, because as they say, the best cure for seasickness is prevention. And so you want to put yourself in a position to get in front of it. And that's exactly why we're making this video. So I have found, in terms of the medications, that Bonine tends to work better. And I would very much recommend a non-drowsy, because you have two options. And you want to make sure, and this is a mistake a lot of people make, Professor, is they take it the morning of, and they don't take it the night before.
Right.
You want to take it the night before. And the reason why you want to take it the night before is this way your body has a chance to get used to it. Now, there is a drawback. Even if it's non-drowsy, it can really put you out.
Yeah. Which
kind of stinks if you're fishing all day, but you miss a lot of, we see people sometimes, they just sleep it out. That's good if they're not getting seasick, but you miss some of the just beauties that you see in the Gulf Stream, and you see some amazing things. That's always hard for me to see somebody sleeping, and you've got like a whole pack of whales just going by, and they might never see that again.
Right, yeah.
That's kind of a bummer. Okay, so that's number one, medication options. I got my list here, Professor, to keep going over. Now, number two, and you can talk about this, this is the things we consume the night before.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about what you've seen.
Well, I see a lot of people are here with their friends. They tend to overindulge themselves with the alcohol the night before. And they get on the boat hungover, which already makes you feel queasy to start off with. And then you couple that with the seas and the diesel exhaust, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
It is a recipe for disaster. Y'all, listen, if you're going on an offshore trip, do not get hammered the night before. I mean, whatever. You can bring your alcohol on the boat, and that day, you can enjoy yourself, but don't do it the night before, for the love of all that's pure and holy. You got a one-shot deal here. All right, so with that being said, though, you do want to be hydrated. This is a mistake that people make. And you do want to have a little bit in your belly.
Yeah.
So just overall, you don't want to be starving when you get on the boat. You're actually, like a light snack in the morning is a smart thing to do so that you don't have that empty feeling in your belly. A lot of people do find that that is helpful. And I would recommend, if you're going to do things like Dramamine, Bonine, whatever, that I would take those with a little bit of food as well.
Yeah, I found myself actually in the mornings on the super rough days where we'll get ready to set out, and I'll feel my stomach get feeling a little bit queasy, and that's about the time I eat my crackers every morning.
Yeah. He does have a little cracker thing every morning. He's got to have his crackers.
Goes away just like that.
Goes away, yeah. So you want to stay on top of that. That's another way to prevent this from happening. Yeah. So let's look at the next option, or the next best practice, I guess, Professor, and that is where you are in the boat.
Yeah, that's very important.
This is a really big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So what do you, in your mind, what are some of the best practices? And I'll share what helps me with this.
Well, the further to the stern you can get, which is the rear of the boat, the better, because that's where the less of the up and down and the rocking is. You know, you can't always sit back there because sometimes it's wet on the rough days.
Right.
But anytime the further back you can get in the boat and in the breeze, when you can get fresh air in your face.
So this is one of the big ones. If you're watching this right now, airflow is huge. So if you ever get on the boat with me and it's a rough day, you'll generally see that I like to kind of stick my head out here like a dog does going down the road in a truck. You know what I'm saying? It's like that because you get the air going in your face. It helps a lot. So I tend to stay like that on the real rough days, or I'll sit, to your point, in the stern because it has some of the best airflow. Now, one drawback though, being in the stern area sometimes, depending on the wind direction, is the diesel fuel.
That's right.
And the fumes, I mean, that'll make anybody a little bit sick. And so that is potentially an issue sometimes, that you just got to be aware of that. I mean, you don't want to be right over the diesel fumes, because otherwise, I don't care who you are, you're gonna feel that. Airflow is a huge deal. Not up to the bow. And speaking of positions in the boat, Professor, tell these people about going in the cabin if you feel sick.
Yeah, I mean, even the most experienced mates and stuff like that, a lot of times on the super up days, they always go downstairs to use the head, and they'll stay down there a little bit too long and they'll come up a little green looking, you know what I mean? It just, that's the worst place to be, where you can't see down there, you know.
Yeah, a good way to guarantee that you get sick is that, you know, you have to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And it's not just number one, it's number two. It takes you a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying? And it's like trying to go to the bathroom in a wash machine. So that is not a great idea. Yeah. So whatever you do, don't go into a cabin, don't go into an enclosed setting. It's gonna feel like you're almost on drugs and the world's gonna start to spin around you. Very, very bad idea. Go outside, get to the cockpit area, get that air going on you. That's gonna be much, much better. So you wanna be careful. You wanna be careful about that. Yeah. Some people find, Professor, that watching the horizon helps. Yeah. Because if you have, the issue is if you're watching the boat go up and down, that can mess you up. Whereas the horizon is a sticking point. And so if you find that there's a chance for you to get seasick, if you sit in a position, especially in the stern area, right, the cockpit area, and you look at a set point, you're better off. You're better off for it. So that's a good way to do it. Now, one thing that actually that I have used, this is another recommendation, is these wristbands and whatnot. Now, here's what I don't think works. If you get those wristbands that just have that little acupuncture piece and it goes around on your wrist, I think that's placebo. I don't really believe that works. Right. And there's different brands, and we'll show some on the screen right now. That how it works is, and I would recommend a more powerful one, because I forget the name of the one that I have. You apply a little bit of almost like a petroleum jelly or something like that to it. You put it at the bottom of your wrist, and it provides an electrical pulse. And you can actually turn it up. Now there's different types. You want to get the type that is rechargeable, because they got some out there that have just like a regular one of those little round batteries. And the problem is they go out pretty quick. You know, they might not last you all day. Right. So I would get one that you can recharge, and that's powerful. They cost about $200, so they're not cheap, but it's a game changer. I have definitely found that works. I don't know why it works. I don't know if it's a distraction, but it's every couple seconds you'll feel like a little electrical charge, and it feels kind of weird at first, but you get used to it. And so I would recommend that to you if you're saying, I have a seasickness problem. Those do tend to help. Right. That's a good one. You know, another one, Professor, is temperature. You want to talk about that one and just keep them cool? Yeah, you want to try to stay in the coolest area. Don't sit in the sun, you know what I mean? And that kind of couples with staying in the airflow. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of times we're on the way out, the sun comes up and shining through the curtains, and we're running, there's spray hitting the curtains, we can't open them up. But that's the time to get up and
kind of move around a little bit, keep your eyes on the horizons.
And to your point too, it's like, that means, listen, when you go on a charter, bring enough clothes to be able to take off.
Yeah.
If you have just a long sleeve shirt and you get hot and you're thinking, I can't take off my shirt, that's problematic.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you got a short sleeve and you know, something long. And plus the temperature really changes from the morning when it's dark, potentially, to later on in the day. It can fluctuate quite a bit.
And plus they got to realize this, I mean, some mornings we'll leave the dock and the water temperature will be, in the wintertime, 40 degrees. And then we get to where we're fishing and the water temperature is 76 degrees.
That's the Gulf Stream. It completely affects the air temperature. That's like the miracle of the ocean, really, is the Gulf Stream. And that's why, you know, you can be bluefin fishing in January for us, and we're out there in the Gulf Stream, but the water is 70 degrees, and you're like, son of a gun, this is amazing.
You're walking around in a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's really, really wild. Doesn't make sense.
The next day, it can be blowing out of the northeast, and the water temperature still be that, but it's freezing out.
Now it's
you know
cold.
What I mean?
Now it's cold.
It just depends.
One obvious one, Professor, that we see passengers on the boat make the mistake of is looking at screens or even reading a book.
Yeah.
You want to guarantee seasickness is spend a bunch of time on your screen.
Yeah, just that, I mean, it's the same thing in the car. You know what I mean? People on there looking at their phone or reading a book in the car tend to get motion sickness.
Yeah, it just, you know, listen, plus you're out here in the ocean. Good grief, get off your screen that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Take
it's
in
like,
Mother Nature's beauty.
Take it all in. Take it all in. So the bottom line is, prevention is your best cure, right? Don't go out and get hammered the night before. Make sure you're taking your Bonine or your Dramamine the night before. Take it with food. Don't come on the boat with an empty stomach. If you have a chance to get one of those electric wristbands, not one of those acupuncture ones, I don't believe those work at all, but one that gives you a little bit of a charge, get that one. Make sure it's rechargeable. Makes a very big difference. Stay off your phones. Make sure you're getting that good airflow. And if you do all these things, there's a pretty good chance that you are going to be prepared.
One more mistake I see people do is, well, there's actually a couple more. You need to get the proper amount of rest, for one, the night before.
Very good point.
Because if you're fatigued and that kind of all makes you feel groggy and kind of sick anyway. But another one is, don't go to the nearest convenience store and get some junk coffee. Because coffee is already high in acidity anyway. You know what I mean? And that's what I hear a lot of people. I think I got some bad coffee.
Interesting.
Well, it's really not the case. They get out of their normal routine, for one, which upsets their stomach, and then they drink some unfamiliar coffee that they're not used to or don't drink every day. It just doesn't settle well with them.
Right.
So
yeah,
that coupled with a mild diet the night before, you know, don't go eating a bunch of spicy food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You do all those things we talked about.
Don't go to Mexican the night before.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yep.
Don't do that. Well, Professor, I think this will help a lot of people, and we want you to have an amazing experience out there on that ocean, and it really is something special. We want you to be fully present for all of it. We don't want your head to be down in a bucket. The good thing is most people don't have that. We have that, but not as much as you would think. It's not like 100%. You know, I'd say it's less than 20% of our customers.
Yeah. And sometimes people are feeling queasy on the way out. We start catching fish, and they're up cranking, and they're
That's
fine.
actually the best cure.
Yeah, that is the best cure.
Is like physical activity. Suddenly you start catching fish. I know for me it goes away immediately. I mean, I might be feeling terrible. I get a bluefin on that line, and she is gone. Right. She is gone. I'm feeling great. Yeah. Well, listen, come out, come fish with this guy. Slip number 92. That's Pirates Cove Marina, Manio, North Carolina. We'd love to have you. Look us up. SpeechlessSportFishing.com. Make sure you subscribe. Share this with your family, friends. We want you to be a part of our community. Until the next time, everyone, stay salty.